I have a 21-day challenge for everybody. And if you can do this for 21 days, I will tell you that your life will change like that. And that is visualization. And a lot of people are like, visualization's hard, because coming from me, visualization is very hard for me. It's a very hard thing to do. But if you think about it, you're actually visualizing in pictures all day, every day. But it's just comes so normal to us that we don't think of it as visualizing, right? Like you're driving down the road and someone pulls out in front of you, like you just knew it was going to happen. You get reactive, you get upset, and then the whole day goes like that, right? The next thing you know, someone texts you like, oh, I know what this guy wants, right? And it's like, you just created that reality. You know that, right? That literally created your reality. But it's so normal to you, and you do it so much, and it's a reactive reality that you create for yourself, that you just say, oh, that's just how that person always responds or says something to me, or they're always asking for something. But in reality, you actually created that, because everything is yourself pushed out. So instead of thinking, oh, what's this guy want? Be like, oh, I wonder what he wants. Think you got to use that person. Be like, okay, what do they usually ask? Instead of them, asking for money, for instance, you got to start seeing them as being like, you know what, today they're going to pay me back all the money I've given them. Like they're going to be like, hey, how's it going, Jeremy? Here's $50. I appreciate you every time you help me out for the things that you help me out with. So it's like, you just got to change that, because I realize I'm pretty reactive too. And this is why I study this stuff, because I'm a very reactive person. So I find myself being very reactive. And then I'm like, see, I told you that happened. But it's like, because you're being reactive. Like you're truly being reactive, and you're actually picturing what's happening in your head the whole time. So you're visualizing, but it's so hard for you to visualize something different, because you're so used to visualizing what you're expecting. And I did that this week, right? There's a deal we got going on in real estate, and it's been going on for 7 months. It goes good, and something's about to happen. Then shit hits the fan, and it goes bad. Then it goes good, and it goes bad, and it's been like that for 7 months. And I just remember in my head, I was like, you know what? I was imagining my friend calling me, or my business associate calling me and being like, hey, we got a cash offer, and we're going to be closing this deal. So I was just putting that in my head, instead of me imagining what he normally says to me or it being a problem. I was just imagining good and positive things coming out about it. And I remember he called me, and he goes, like, it wasn't going good. So that doesn't matter that it wasn't going good. So, but he did say, which is crazy, this is like 20 minutes after I was telling this to myself and visualizing it. He says, we do have a cash buyer though. And I was like, bro, I literally just visualized this 20 minutes ago, saying we have a cash buyer, because cash buyers are easier to deal with, right? And he says, we have a cash buyer. Now, the rest of the conversation, things weren't looking that great, but it doesn't matter. The fact that he said we have a cash buyer when I was literally just manifesting it, right? Like blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh. And then one of my other friends contacted me, and he was like, hey, I got a client who's looking for an industrial warehouse space. And I was like, what? I just visualized this stuff, and this person just out of nowhere is like, asked me about this industrial warehouse now, and I'm over here like, that's awesome. I just visualized this. And it wasn't just me visualizing. I remember talking to myself like as if I was speaking to him. Like when you speak, you got to start speaking yourself out loud, speaking the way you want it to happen, and just laugh. Get emotionally involved in it. Just laugh, because who cares if you're right or wrong? Who cares if it happens or not? The thing is, you're getting in the zone of your wish fulfilled. You got to talk, you got to speak, and you got to visualize as if what you want to happen is actually happening. Because at the end of the day, like I said, everything is yourself pushed out. So in your mind, how many times a day do you have conversations in your mind about people, about events, about things that happen, about the news, about anything? And you're just expecting it. Get it? You're expecting it. And how many times when you expect something to happen, does that thing happen? So if you're expecting something to already happen and it's something that you don't like, why don't you expect something different? Why don't you start changing that? Why don't you just start elevating your thought process to something that you want to happen? Because what's it going to hurt? It ain't going to hurt you. And the thing is, it might not happen right away, right? Like, yeah, he told me that there was a cash buyer, but things were not going right with the deal still. And that doesn't matter. It's one little seed that you plant every single day, because things don't change right away. They can. Don't get me wrong, they can. But most of your outer reality takes a little bit for it to change. So if you're doing these visualizations and things aren't happening, it doesn't matter, because your reality is still reflecting what your main belief systems are. It might take a little bit for your belief systems to change. It takes 90 days for you to form a new habit, for instance. So if you start doing something for 90 days, at some point in time during that 90 days, things will start to change, and they'll change fast when they start changing fast. So you always got to ask yourself, what am I visualizing? What am I expecting out of this result? I remember there was a goal I had. I want to go on a cruise. I didn't want to pay for it or anything. I was just like, me and my best friend, we're going to go on this cruise. We're not going to pay for it. Not worried. I don't know how it's going to happen. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're not supposed to know how it's going to happen. You just got to have faith, and you got to know. You got to expect it. You got to know it will happen. Because the way it's going to happen is going to be the way you never expect it, which is the best thing. Because at the end of the day, it's going to go the way you never, ever expect it to happen. And then when it happens, you're going to be blown away, because you're like, I couldn't even piece that together. That's the thing. You could never even piece that together. And that cruise I wanted to go on, that I didn't want to pay for, you know what that cruise ended up being? We got invited by some friends of ours that we ran into, that we just met not too long ago. And they were very well off. So they invite us to go on a week-long, 120-foot chartered yacht cruise. Private chartered yacht. Literally, we lived the billion-dollar lifestyle and everything. And at the same time, that's when I was paying off all my debt. And I was expecting to pay my car off, because that was the last debt I had left. I had about like $25,000 left in my car, or something around that, like 20 grand. And during that time, you know, they also said, hey, because you guys are going with us and you're going to be without work, they also compensated us to go with them and have a good time, because they're very nice people, and they're very giving people. So long story short, I didn't just go on the cruise. I went on a chartered yacht, was compensated, and ended up paying off my car at the same time. Like, how does that happen? How does that happen? This is why with manifestation space, you can't use logic, because logic doesn't work. That's why you have to be like, this is what I want, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen, because I couldn't even tell you how that would have happened. And I end up going on that cruise, living a billion-dollar lifestyle, and paying my car off in a week. In a week. Do you know how long that would take for me to pay off that car normally? It would take like 6 months. I did it in 1 week. I'm not special. Nothing about me is special. Everybody has the same power that I have, that I created. It's just your mind. And once you use your mind and you understand these things, and you're like, you know, I'm going to accomplish this. I want this. Your mind's going to go out and bring it to you, because at the end of the day, you are a reflection of yourself. Everything you want wants you. You attract who you are, not what you want. If I didn't truly believe that I was going to get that cruise, I wouldn't have even put it on my vision board. I wouldn't have even thought about it. I wouldn't have even said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. I would have just been like, I'm not even going to think about that, because it's not going to happen. So all it takes is one tweak of the mind. One little positive thought a day at a time. One little thing at a time. One positive inner conversation with yourself every single day. And you too can accomplish things like that. I'm not special. We are all created equally. You can do that too. I appreciate you guys listening to this video. I want you to comment below what you think. I want you guys to also comment below and tell me if you want me to do more videos like this of me speaking. I appreciate it. Welcome back to Luxona, everybody, where millionaires are made.